Welcome to Odd Occasions, your go-to channel for all things strange, paranormal, and unexplained. Today, we're heading to the Garden State, New Jersey, a place known for its beautiful beaches, bustling cities, and spine-chilling hauntings. From restless spirits to cursed trees, New Jersey is home to some of the most terrifying tales you've ever heard. So, buckle up, because we're about to explore the 10 most haunted places in New Jersey, where the past lingers and the supernatural thrives. Let's dive into the haunted history of the Garden State, if you dare. Number 10. Shippen Manor in Oxford, NJ. The Oxford furnace was owned by Dr. William Shippen Sr. and his brother Joseph Shippen III from the time it was first constructed in 1741 until it was passed down to their descendants, to this very day. In the year 1755, they constructed this house on an estate that totaled 4,000 acres at the time. Both the state and the National Registers of Historic Places have been updated to include the manor. Due to the fact that it is so old, it should not come as a surprise that there are ghosts at this location. These ghosts have been seen by several witnesses who have never met each other, so there is no need to try to piece together the same story. A small child dressed in period clothing is frequently seen strolling about the front yard or sitting on the porch of the house. It is believed that the torso of a lady goes flying around the place in a hurry, much like a chicken that has had its head severed. According to legend, there is also a soldier from the Revolutionary War roaming the premises. There are also the telltale sounds of doors opening and closing on their own, bodiless whispers, and intermittent other inexplicable events at Shippen Manor. The property was featured on an episode of Ghost Hunters in 2018, which is a testament to the fact that additional unexplained phenomena have been observed there. Number 9. Burlington County Prison in Mount Holly, NJ. Between the years 1811 and 1965, this eerie structure served as a prison. That's a total of 154 years. Upon its eventual closure, it held the distinction of being the nation's oldest prison. The architecture of the prison was quite progressive for its time, featuring separate cells, a fireproof building, and even proper ventilation. But don't let that fool you. This prison has been the site of bloody executions and brutal murders, and it is now the dwelling place of many restless souls who met their fate within its walls. During the 19th and early 20th centuries, the prison yard wasn't just for recreation, it was used for executions. Many prisoners also lost their lives in desperate escape attempts. And, if urban legends are to be believed, some of these unlucky inmates are buried beneath the basement. When it comes to paranormal activity, the basement and the cell known as the Shippen Death Cell are the most active. Visitors often report hearing disembodied screams, footsteps with no source, and even objects moving on their own in these areas. Shortly after the prison ceased operations, it was converted into a museum. In 1986, it received the honor of being designated as a National Historic Landmark. But even with its transformation, the building still holds on to its dark past. Inside the prison's dungeon, spirits linger, each one with a tragic story to tell about how they met their end. Number 8. Absecon Lighthouse in Atlantic City, NJ. Beginning in the year 1854, the Absecon Lighthouse, the oldest lighthouse in New Jersey, began its construction, finally completed in 1857. In addition to its age, it holds another eerie title. It's considered the most haunted lighthouse in the state. Even though the lighthouse was decommissioned in 1933, it continues to flash brightly each and every night. Sadly, a great number of lives were lost along this rocky coast before the lighthouse was built, and, according to locals, not all of the souls have made it to the other side. One tragedy in particular stands out. The packet ship Powhatan was rammed into the Barnegat Shoals, causing the deaths of nearly 200 sailors and passengers. The approval to construct the Absecon Lighthouse came directly as a result of this disaster. Given that this shore has seen death for centuries, it's highly likely this location was haunted long before the lighthouse ever existed, littered with the bodies of those who perished before the Powhatan tragedy. The first official report of the supernatural came in 1905 from the lighthouse keeper himself. He claimed to have seen none other than the Jersey Devil, perched atop the lighthouse tower. On that fateful night, he reported to authorities that he grabbed his shotgun and fired at the beast before it fled into the darkness. Since then, there have been consistent tales of spirits of all kinds, accompanied by disembodied laughter and footsteps, making their way to the lighthouse. But the strangest phenomenon? Dimes. Yes, dimes have been reported showing up in random spots around the lighthouse, with no clear explanation of where they came from. Number 7. Devil's Tower in Alpine, NJRAC. In 1910, Charles Rawlinson Lamb designed and constructed this eerie, 6-story Gothic stone clock tower for sugar baron Manuel Rionda. The tower, built entirely out of stone, was meant to be a gift, allowing his wife to gaze at New York from the New Jersey side of the Hudson River. But this romantic gesture took a tragic turn. According to urban legend, after learning of her husband's affair, Mrs. Rionda committed suicide, jumping from the unfinished tower. Stricken by grief and guilt, Rionda immediately halted its construction. But the story doesn't end there. It is said that if you drive around the tower 6 times in reverse, the spirit of Mrs. Rionda will take possession of your vehicle, leading to chaos, potentially even causing you to crash into a tree. One chilling tale claims this happened to a group of teenagers, resulting in fatal injuries to one of them. In a more sinister twist, it is rumored that if you walk around the tower a total of 6 times, the devil himself will appear. Those brave enough to sneak through the gates or onto the grounds often report feeling a forceful shove from an attacker they cannot see or hear. Number 6. The historic village at Allaire in Farmingdale, NJN. Long before European settlers arrived, this region served as a ceremonial burial ground for Native Americans, a sacred place until 1657. Later, it became a bustling bog iron facility. In 1828, James Allaire purchased the property and established a small self-sustaining community. Over 400 people, workers and their families, called Allaire Village home. Today, Allaire State Park preserves 13 original buildings from this autonomous society, but these structures are said to house more than just memories. It is believed that several spirits still linger in this historic village. In 1836, Frances Allaire, James Allaire's first wife, died of cholera. Later, both his son Hal and his second wife Calicia passed away in their family home within the village. According to local lore, the spirits of Francis, Hal, and Calicia continue to reside there. Hal's spirit, they say, communicates with visitors who offer him candy. And James Allaire? His ghost is often seen weeping while dressed in funeral attire, standing atop the stairs. The past, it seems, still walks the halls of Allaire Village. Number 5. The Cranbury Inn in Cranbury, NJR. The Cranbury Inn is a collection of historic taverns originally constructed in the 1750s. For nearly 270 years, people have been dining and drinking at the Cranbury, though it didn't officially begin operations until 1780. These walls have witnessed centuries of history unfold. One of the inn's most notable roles was as a stop on the Underground Railroad, where the attic was used to hide individuals on their journey to freedom in Canada. Over the years, both employees and guests have reported numerous unexplainable occurrences and sightings. Doors have been seen opening and closing by themselves. One particularly eerie story involved a pregnant employee on her way to a locked storage room, her hands full. As she approached, the door suddenly opened on its own, just in time for her to pass through. Several staff members have even claimed to receive telepathic messages, warning them to turn off electrical fixtures. The spirits of the past seem to linger at the Cranbury Inn, making their presence felt in mysterious and sometimes helpful ways. Number 4. The Spy House, Seabrook Wilson House, in Port Monmouth, NJ. Constructed by Thomas Whitlock in 1663, this house is one of the oldest surviving residences in the Bayshore area. Nearly a century later, when Thomas Seabrook owned the property, it became known as the Spy House. Seabrook, a member of the New Jersey militia and a patriot, used his inn to spy on British forces who frequented it, but Seabrook's ghost is just one of many said to haunt this historic home. Locals claim a ghostly woman wanders from room to room searching for her screaming infant. Others report sightings of a little boy who peers out from the windows and a bearded sea captain who patrols the grounds. The house's sinister history deepens with tales of the infamous pirate Captain Morgan, who allegedly tortured prisoners in the basement. To this day, disembodied screams are said to echo from behind the basement door, reminding visitors of the dark events that once took place there. Number 3. The Devil's Tree in Basking Ridge, NJ Buan. The Devil's Tree is a lone oak tree with dead limbs, standing eerily in an undeveloped field along Mountain Road in the Martinsville section of Bernards Township. According to local legend, the tree is cursed. One popular tale claims that in the early 20th century, a farmer murdered his wife and children, then hanged himself from the tree, an act believed to have triggered the curse that still lingers. The Devil's Tree has been the site of multiple homicides and suicides over the years, further feeding into its dark reputation. But why hasn't it been cut down? The legend warns that anyone who attempts to fell the tree will meet a mysterious death shortly afterward. Even in the coldest winters, the tree is said to remain unnaturally warm, as if the spirits of those who died there keep it heated. No snow ever falls directly on or around the tree, adding to its eerie, supernatural aura. Number 2. The Emlen Physick Estate in Cape May, NJ. Built in 1879 for Dr. Emlen Physick Jr., this 18-room mansion has a dark and eerie history. After the deaths of Physick, his mother, and his sister, no subsequent owner could remain in the estate for long. The reason? It's believed that the spirits of the original inhabitants haunt the mansion, driving people away. Many visitors on ghost tours have reported feeling touched by unseen hands, while some claim to have spotted a woman in vintage clothing wandering through the mansion. Even more chilling, the museum management asserts that they have a recording of a disembodied child's voice, captured in one of the rooms. But perhaps the most unsettling of all are the reports of ghost dogs. These spectral canines, a rarity in paranormal encounters, are said to patrol the estate's grounds. Some claim to have seen an entire pack of ghostly dogs haunting the Physick estate, adding another layer of mystery to this already chilling location. Number 1. Shades of Death Road in Warren County, NJ. Shades of Death Road is a rural two-lane road stretching 6.7 miles, 10.8 kilometers, from Alamochi Township to Liberty Township, passing through Jenny Jump Forest and Ghost Lake along the way. This isolated road has become the subject of numerous urban legends. One tale suggests that highwaymen robbed and murdered travelers here, hanging their victims, or sometimes the thieves themselves, from the trees lining the road. Another story attributes the road's ominous name to the early squatters who lived in the area, known for their undisciplined ways. Violent fights, often over women, were common among these men, and usually ended in death. Over time, the location earned a dark reputation for violence and fatalities, eventually being dubbed Shades of Death. As the squatters were driven away and modernity swept in, the infamous name remained, attached to the solitary road that now carries its eerie legacy. And that concludes our journey through the 10 most haunted places in New Jersey. Have you experienced any ghostly encounters at these terrifying locations? Or maybe you've heard even more chilling stories. Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another eerie episode from Odd Occasions. Thanks for watching. Until next time, stay curious, stay brave, and as always, stay strange.